Hey guys, if you're new, my name is Vanessa, and today and tomorrow, but all in one in this video, pretty sure this is gonna take me 2 days, but I do have a pretty extensive list of things that I would love to meal prep. Some stuff I already have on hand that I just want to use up and make. Some things that are like going bad, so I need to turn them into something else so they're not wasted. And then just some recipes that sounded really good that I wanted to make for my family for this week. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna take you guys down to the counter. I've got everything pulled out for the first thing that I am going to make. Okay, so first up, we are going to make banana bread, and I'm gonna make a double batch. I bought these bananas last week and I ate one and nobody else ate anything else, and I didn't have any after that. So I've got 6 bananas and one recipe calls for 3. So I'm going to make a double batch. I'm gonna send some in with Mark to work, and that way, and then, you know, leave some out and put some in the freezer, but just use these up because I do still have bananas in my freezer as well. So we're gonna make some banana bread. And I have just my go-to recipe is actually, I've shared it here on the channel, so I'll leave that link if you guys want to check it out. I do kind of mix it up and tweak it every so often, but it's also in the very first cookbook that Kira, Nicole, and I put out a couple years ago. So I'll have, well, this is always linked on my Amazon shopping cart, or in my Amazon link that is in the description box, but it is in here if you guys want to check it out. I dog-eared it so I could get to it pretty quickly, so I'll just share it with you guys. One thing that I have changed up over the years is I used to use canola oil all the time, and that is what is listed in this recipe, but now I use either olive oil or avocado oil. The last several times that I've made this, I have used avocado oil. So that is what I am using today. And then you can kind of make your banana bread however you want. You can put some add-ins or just leave it straight up banana bread. This time I am gonna do 3 different add-ins. I'm gonna put some pecans in it. It's been a while since I've added any nuts. I'm gonna put some chocolate chips in it just to utilize, well, I won't use all of these. Well, actually I might use all of these chocolate chips since I am making 2 batches. So that'll be good. One more thing out of my pantry. And then last week I freeze-dried some raspberries because they weren't the sweetest batch that I've ever purchased. However, when you freeze-dry things, it really makes that flavor front and center. I was hoping it would pull more of the sweetness out and they'd be good, but they are still pretty sour. So I am gonna crush some up and add them into here as well, just so, again, I'm utilizing them. So I've got some freeze-dried raspberries. I'm gonna use those. All right, so let's go ahead and get to making this banana bread. Well, I'm actually making muffins. I'm gonna make some little itty bitty bite-sized ones. The kids love it when they're just nice and small like that, but I am also gonna make some regular ones as well. I think these are the ones that I'm going to send with Mark into work. All right, so I'm adding in 1/2 cup of the avocado oil, and not 1, but 2 cups of sugar. Oh, so yeah, I went from canola to avocado oil, but these are still not like the healthiest banana muffins, but they taste fantastic. All right, so I'm just gonna give this a quick little stir. It's easier because of the ingredients to stir just a little bit at a time after each ingredient that you do, instead of all of them all together at the end, unless you're using a KitchenAid. But I prefer for this recipe, for banana bread, any type of bread really, to do it by hand. Well, not with my hands, but with a spoon instead of a mixer. I just feel like it comes out a little bit more moist and not so dry. All right, next up, I'm adding in 2 cups of flour. And this is just for 1 batch. I'm gonna do 1 at a time. Again, if I were to do both of them right now, I would, 1, need a bigger bowl, and 2, it would just hurt. I would be in pain. My arms would definitely get a better workout, but I don't wanna do that. I'm gonna do 1 at a time. So again, since I added a new ingredient, I'm just gonna give this a little mix. Okay, this is when you add in whatever mix-ins you want. If you want a little extra in with your banana bread, otherwise, you know, these are totally optional. If you don't want these and you just want plain banana bread, you would not add them in. So I'm adding in 1/2 cup of the chocolate chips, 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. Oh, and my oven is ready at 350 degrees. And then I'm not gonna measure these, but I am going to kind of break them up into little pieces. I don't want huge chunks of raspberry in here. So I'm just gonna do a few. I'm gonna do like 6, I think. All right, I'm just gonna give this a little mix. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt. Mixing those 2 in. All right, I mashed up 3 of my bananas because I am gonna double this. As soon as this batch gets in the oven, I'll work on the second one. So I've got my bananas in here. I really like the raspberries, like the look of it in here. Looks good. I love food, like photography and stuff. I'm just not the best at it, but I like watching it and stuff and looking it up and all of that. So, all right, I'm mixing in my bananas. And last but not least are 2 eggs. And I'm gonna spend a couple minutes mixing this up now since I just did like a quick mix. Nothing is totally mixed up in here until it is nice and everything is combined. All right, I'm gonna do a batch of the mini ones first. That way they can get nice and cooled off. And then I am gonna, once they're cool, I'm gonna pop them. I need to buy another set of these mini silicone liners since I have 2 pans for when I make banana muffins or any muffin really. It'll make about 2 pans worth since they're so small. But since I only have 1 of these, I am going to make this one first. And like I said, that way I can pop them out once they're cool and get the other one going. And in the meantime, I'll make the regular size. So I'm just using this little cookie scoop. I actually got this from Der Kuchenladen, the kitchen store in Fredericksburg, but you can buy a cookie scoop anywhere. It's just one of the little tiny ones, and it's the perfect size for the mini muffins. So I'm gonna fill this up, and like I said, my oven's already preheated to 350, and the muffins don't take as long as bread. So in my recipe, I say like if you're cooking bread, it's gonna take an hour and 15 minutes sometimes, but for muffins, it takes more like 30 minutes. All right, so I definitely still have plenty left in this batch. So now I am making like the regular cupcake size, and for this, actually I need to get a little small spoon to scoop this out in, but for this size, I like to use the, hold up, there we go, the 1/4 cup measuring. I think that works great for regular size cupcakes or muffins in this case. I just need to get a spoon so I can keep this clean and scoop it out a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna fill this one, and I do have 2 ovens, so I'm able to move a little bit faster in the kitchen. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in my other oven, and that way this one's baking as well. All right, so I just wanted to share how much I got out of that 1 batch. So I got a full sheet of the mini muffins, and then I got almost a full one for the regular size. So we'll see if I'll get the same amount by using the same scoops for the next batch. All right, so with the second batch, I started with the muffin pan first. I filled that one up, and then I did this mini one, and so there's only 3 that I didn't get to with that batch. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these in the oven, and then while this is cooking, we're actually gonna start another muffin, because my kid, like these are my kids' top 2 favorites, and it's been a little while since I've made them, so we'll definitely have muffins for a good month. So let me get these in the oven, and then I'm gonna rinse this bowl out because I want to save on dishes. I'm just gonna give everything a quick rinse, and then we'll start prepping our next muffin. All right, I've got everything out for my next recipe, and I'm not gonna be able to share specifics with you because it's not like a recipe that I have made or tweaked and made my own, anything like that. I make it exactly how Joanna Gaines does in her book, volume 2 of Magnolia Table. I got this off of Amazon, so I can link it, but she does have a blueberry muffin recipe in here that I've made a couple times now, and we all are huge fans. It is so scrumptious. So I actually just realized I need to pull out butter, and blueberries. But other than that, these are the ingredients that she uses. So we've got some vanilla extract, sour cream, baking powder, eggs, salt, sugar, and flour. And then like I mentioned, I need to pull out blueberries and butter, and that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start whipping these up. I'm just gonna make one batch of these. They definitely will not last much longer than maybe a week and a half here in this house. Okay, I'm gonna start on the streusel first. I've got my sugar in the bowl, added in the flour, and some cold butter that I like diced up. And now I'm just gonna use my hands. I found that works the best. I have a pastry cutter. I don't know, I don't like it that much. So I just use my fingers, and I'm just gonna mix this up until all of it is nice and crumbly. I'm gonna get in there and like smush up the butter and everything, just so it's a nice strudel. This definitely makes such a difference when you top your muffins with it. All right, streusel topping is done. I'm gonna put this in the fridge while we move on to mix up the muffins. Okay, onto the muffins. I've got my flour in a mixing bowl. I added my baking powder and salt. I'm gonna give this a little mix. Okay, we are over to my KitchenAid. And it's actually the first time that I'm getting to use, I purchased this a while ago, the clear or the glass bowl. And this is the first time that I'm actually using it. So I did zap my butter just so it was more melted, but I've got my sugar and butter in here, and I'm just going to cream these together. All right, I've got my eggs and vanilla extract in there. So I'm just going to mix those up. All right, I'm just gonna scrape the sides down, so I'm making sure to get everything nicely incorporated. Then I'm gonna add in, I'm making a lot of noise, about half of the flour mixture that I mixed up in this bowl. Okay, we're just gonna mix that in a little bit. Now I'm adding in the sour cream. Gonna give that a little mix and add in the rest of the flour. Okay, I just pulled this out of the freezer, but I've got my blueberries, and I'm just gonna carefully mix those in with my spoon. All right, my ovens are already, or my oven, I only need one for this batch, but my oven is already preheated from the banana muffins. So I've got these all sectioned out, and I'm gonna get them baking. These take about 26 minutes. Oh my gosh, out of the oven they come. I mean, they've only been in there for less than a minute, but I totally forgot. I was so excited about making these muffins that let me get to the fridge here. Totally forgot about the streusel, which I said when I was making definitely was a must. I mean, you could skip it if you didn't want the extra, you know, sugar on top or whatever, but it is so good. So I'm just crumbling it up a little bit more. I'm gonna add it to the top of each muffin. And then we're gonna get them in the oven for about 26 minutes. So I'll show you guys what they look like when they are all done. The blueberry muffins are still in the oven, but I got all the banana muffins put where I want them to be. They're all cooled off. So this little container right here is actually set aside for Mark to take to work. I put the 11 in here from that one pan, and then the other pan that had the full 12 I put in a freezer bag. I think I got these, I've had them for a long time. They work great. Pretty sure I picked them up from Target, but these will go in the freezer because I put all of the mini ones, and I'm gonna check the stale factor of these. This bread box works great. I get comments on it all the time, questions, whenever I'm like sharing a certain pictures on Instagram. If this happens to be in the shot, I get messages every time I show this. Somebody's always asking. It is linked in my Amazon store, which is in the description box. And the main question is, how long does food normally last in here before it starts to go stale? And for our family, it's about a week, but this is a massive amount of I mean, the kids will probably eat 2, maybe 3 of these at a time. So I might not have to put these in the freezer, but in a few days, 4 to 5 days, I'm gonna check and see how they're doing, how many are left, and go from there. But I might end up putting some of these in the freezer to hold on to by the end of this week if they're still really, really fresh. If they're starting to go, I'm just gonna push them on the kids like, hey, eat the banana muffins, eat them, eat them, eat them. Every single morning, this is what you get. So I just wanted to point that out, but I love this box. It works great. So here's all my banana muffins. We've got tons of the minis, some for Mark to take into work, and then a package of the regular size again to go in the freezer for, you know, in the future. All right, I have 2 more things for breakfast that I want to cook, but I forgot to take the meat out of the freezer. So they are currently defrosting for a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and prep this watermelon, just cut it up, that way the kids can snack on it. We are having some breakfast for dinner tonight. So because I'm like focusing on all the breakfast meal prep today, that way I don't have to turn around and cook something for dinner. So this will be nice just to have on the side. So we're just gonna do a quick, like YouTube magic. Here's the watermelon whole. Here's my bowl. And this is what it looks like all cut up. So yeah, that took me just a couple of minutes, but this is actually not the best watermelon that we have ever gotten. I'm a little bummed. This is the first one since, you know, watermelon season came upon us that we've had that hasn't been a really good sweet one. I just had a little piece, and yeah, it was a little bit more on the sour side. I know the kids aren't gonna care. They just love watermelon. The dogs had a couple pieces. They didn't even care. They're still sitting here at my heels begging for more, but it actually looks a little darker on camera. It is a very light pink, and there's a lot of white in it, so boo. Oh well, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer into the week to cut it up, but that's okay. I know it's gonna get eaten regardless. So let me go ahead and put the lid on here, and then I'll check. I've got my meat that I want for the 2 things that I'm gonna cook. Oh, I'm gonna need 2 hands for that. Anyway, I've got the meat sitting in some warm water, so hopefully it is thawed enough for me to start putting together for the other 2 items for breakfast. All right, first up, not a recipe, I'm just making some bacon. So I actually had 3 packages of bacon in my freezer. I must have purchased them for recipes that I just never got to. I don't even know, but we typically pick up the big packs of like the already cooked. You just microwave it in the morning, quick and easy for the kids and myself and Mark, like the whole family, to have on the side of anything really with breakfast, just a little extra protein. So this week I had it on my grocery list to buy more of it because we ran out, but as I was going through my freezer getting ready for, you guys should have already seen it, I did a what's in my fridge, freezer, and pantry. I saw that I had some bacon, so I was like, no, I'm gonna cook this bacon up. So I've got like 1.5 or 1/4 packages right now, and then I am gonna cook up the rest of this as well. But I'm just gonna bake this in the oven. So I've got them set to 400 degrees. I'm gonna put them in for 20 minutes. We like our bacon fairly crispy, so I'm gonna take a look at them at the 20-minute mark and see what it looks like. But I just have them on these little racks that you can easily put in here. These are like cookie racks, but they also, you can see, fit really well in a baking sheet. So you can use these to like cool your cookies when you're done, or you can use them to bake bacon in the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them in there and get them in a container, and now we've got our easy cooked bacon for the week. Okay, moving on to the last thing I'm going to bake for today. It's definitely hot in my kitchen. My oven's been running for hours now. So I'm gonna make a hash brown egg casserole. I've had these in the freezer. My kids go through spurts where they really love something and then they aren't eating them as often. So I'm just gonna turn this into a casserole for dinner tonight. I've got my 2 pans of bacon done. However, the dogs have each had a piece, and Rose and Pearl have come in here and taken, what, 3 pieces each? Something like that. So there are several missing already, but I do have 1 more pan in the oven right now. Has about, what, let me look, 11 minutes left. So I'll be able to add that in here. We'll have some bacon for the week, or like a couple days, as much as my kids love it. So while that bacon's finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and get this casserole prepped. All right, so I have a 9x13 pan here. I did spray it. And all I'm doing, and these are not thawed, I just pulled them out of the freezer. I'm just putting the hash brown patties down on the bottom of my casserole dish. All right, another item I had in my freezer is this diced ham. So I'm just gonna take the ham and sprinkle it all over the top. I'm only gonna use about I don't know, I don't want it to be too much. Maybe half of the package, 3/4 of the package. Yeah. So I used just a little over half, sprinkled it on top of the hash browns, and then got some shredded cheese, and I'm gonna sprinkle that over the top as well. It's probably a little over a cup. I'm just using whatever I have left in this bag that I shredded last week. I think I shredded last week. Okay, that's it for now. I'm gonna set this to the side, and now I'm gonna get my eggs whisked up and mixed with some seasonings and some milk. I have 9 eggs in here. My bacon is done, so I just turned my oven down to 350 for this recipe. I've got my 9 eggs in here. I'm adding in 1 cup of milk, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground mustard, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'm just gonna whisk this together. Got my dish. My eggs are all mixed up. I'm just gonna pour the eggs over everything. I'm just gonna take the back of my spoon and kind of spread it just so the cheese is fully coated. Spread it out a little, as evenly as possible. Then I'm gonna top it with some chopped green onions. I'm gonna bake this for 45 minutes total at 350 degrees. The first 25 minutes, it's gonna be covered with the foil. Then I'm gonna take the foil off and cook it for an additional 20. I've got the rest of the bacon in my container here, so I can close it up and get it in the fridge for snacking on or adding to breakfast this week. All right, so I am making one more breakfast item today, but this is going in my crock pot, and it's gonna be a recipe that I'm sharing with you guys in a future cookbook that Kira from 50 Shades of Mom and I are creating or working on this summer. So here's all my ingredients that I've got out. This is gonna go along with our breakfast for dinner theme tonight. I've got some milk, spinach, a bell pepper, onion, eggs, and egg whites, then some garlic powder, parsley, and cayenne pepper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this whipped up. This recipe is actually the least amount that I've ever had to cook in a crock pot, or the length of time in a crock pot. And I use my small 4-quart crock pot because the kids aren't huge fans on this. Well, the younger 3, Pearl sometimes, but mainly it's just Paige, Mark, and I that eat this. So I love that I have a small crock pot to be able to make this in, because before I've made this a couple times just playing around with like an omelet feel, but they come out super, super thin in the larger crock pots. So not too long ago, I picked up a 4-quart. So I'm excited to see how this turns out in that crock pot, so I can, work on it and update the recipe if needed for the cookbook. All right, I just wanted to show you guys the veggie omelet in my little crock pot. I'll show you guys also when it is all said and done, but I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, I really don't make this that often just because it's typically just my husband and I and Paige is out of town. So it's really my husband and I. So this is gonna be great for us to have on hand for breakfast, just to heat up real quick. Well, whatever's left over after we eat it tonight. All right, my hash brown egg casserole is done. So I'm officially through with the oven for today. I've got it turned off. I'm gonna let this cool down for a little bit before I put the cover on, but we are gonna be eating some of this for dinner. Buford's making sure that there's no more dog food left, that Oliver didn't leave anything in there. I just got done feeding them, but now I'm gonna sit down, take a load off of my feet. I do have some cleaning up to do, but I'll get that done after dinner time. Just waiting on the crock pot omelet to be done. It takes about an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, just waiting for those eggs to set. But as soon as that's done, we'll be eating dinner. But that's it for meal prep today. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more to check off my list.
You give me this energy. It is like you set me free. Chasing highs to stay alive.
Okay, it is a new day and I'm hoping to get the rest of the items that I want to get meal prepped done. So first up, this is gonna take all day. Like, I will not be sharing the finished product with you, hopefully by the end of tonight or possibly tomorrow after I go to bed and wake up, and I'll share it with you guys, because I am getting started a little bit later than I wanted to. But I picked up some candies from the Dollar Tree, and then I got these for Paige, and I'm going to, and some Airheads, I'm going to freeze dry them, and I'll show you guys my freeze dryer in a little bit because I have gotten questions. I don't know if I'm gonna need all 5 of these pans, so we're just gonna, I'm hoping I can get away with just doing 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up my food or my candy, and then we'll move over to the freeze dryer, and I'll share a little bit on that. All right, so I think I am gonna keep like all the, even though this isn't gonna be done until tonight, I am gonna, as soon as it's done, I'll share it all in one clip so you guys aren't waiting to see like the before and the after. So here's what the candy looks like before. I should have looked up before I waste my time putting this in the freeze dryer, but there are some candies that don't freeze dry well. I'm not 100% about jelly beans. I did not look them up, but I'm gonna try them. So I've got the jelly beans, I've got the little mini Airheads. Well, I don't think they're mini, I think they're regular. I went ahead and cut them in half. They looked a little too big. So I've got the Airheads here, and then I've got the Skittles. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these in the freeze dryer. It is gonna be a little bit loud in there. Let me show you guys where we've got it. So here's where the freeze dryer is. We did have it in the garage, which when we purchased it, that was our plan. However, it is way too hot in Texas right now. We might move it back in the garage during the winter time. I don't know, or just keep it here. It's not ideal, but hey, it works. Polly's food and everything used to be here, but it is just right there on my sink countertop. Well, not by my sink. My sink's right here. It's far enough down. I'm okay with it. Anyway, it is fairly loud. It's doing a countdown, so I've got about 4.5 minutes left. I've got to let it do a little cooling for 15 minutes, and then this little LED screen right here will let me know that I can open the freeze dryer up and put my goodies in here. So I'll meet you guys back here once my time is up and I get the candy in here. All right, my 15 minutes is up. I've got the candy in here, so I could do 5 trays or something if I wanted to, but I'm just doing a small batch of everything today. So I've got my door closed, and it's going to start freezing. This takes, so right now it says 60. This takes hours. I mean, like 10 plus hours sometimes. So we'll see how long. I've never done Airhead, Skittles, or jelly beans, so we'll see how long these take, but it's only going to be a little bit for you guys. It's going to be several hours for me, but I'll show you guys what the temperature ends up being. But what freeze drying is it's going to take all the liquid, everything out of the candy, and it's going to expand and become like a hard version of cotton candy. Well, that's what taffy does, so we'll see what these do. I've seen people do Skittles before, and they kind of turn inside out, so where the white inside is going to be out, and then the yellow, or you know, the colors are going to be more on the inside.
You take me to paradise, that's why it's hard to wait. Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while. A simple question, can I get closer? Just for motivation. Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while. A simple question, can I get.
All right, guys, it has been 12 hours and 29 minutes, and it's done. So I'm gonna open up the drain valve, and then I'll be able to open this door up and take our goodies out. It is warm. It freeze dries first and then gets nice and hot. Let me just see. Yeah, it's too hot for me to grab completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these out. You can see the jelly beans don't look any different, so I'm gonna give them a try, but I don't have high hopes for them. All right, I'm gonna try a jelly bean. It feels the same also. Yeah, the jelly beans didn't do anything. But you can see the Skittles. I said they kind of, not totally turn inside out, but the whites really pop out. And then the Airheads are like little pillows now. I have these oxygen absorbers, and they're the only way to keep these from like rehydrating or going back to normal. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I don't need to put one in with the Skittles, or not the Skittles, the jelly beans, because they're fine. So I'm just gonna get them in a container. But these two, I'm gonna put in an airtight container. I've done a couple different batches now of different types of foods, and these OXO containers work fantastic, as long as I did try them out once with a small batch of taffy, and I forgot to put one of the oxygen absorbers in there, and they immediately started shrinking and going back to normal. So you definitely need one of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these up, and it is almost 10 o'clock at night. So this does take a while. Like I said, right now I'm just kind of messing around with different foods, seeing what they do. And then, you know, as I get more used to it, we'll see what we're gonna do and where we're gonna go with the freeze dryer from there. But let me go ahead and get these put up. All right, guys, so I've got my regular jelly beans. So like I said, note to self, I need to like start a note and keep it somewhere. That way I know what I've tried. I think the only other candy I've tried to freeze dry that wasn't a success was Tootsie Rolls, maybe, I believe. So I need to make a note of that. But the Skittles are fun. The kids are definitely going to love them. It just like, it really intensifies the flavors. I ate a red one, and super yummy. And then I had a blue. I had to try them, you know. I had a blue Airhead, and it was really, really good. So we've got some new candies for the kids to try, see what they think, how they like it. But all right, there's the freeze dryer in action. I'll definitely, you know, share my trials and errors and anything I come across with you guys whenever I'm like, if I'm doing it during a meal prep or something. All right, so meanwhile, I have this box of brownie mix that has been in my pantry for a very long time, and it was a 6-pack. I've got 3 packs left in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make one today. That candy is not gonna be ready for the kids to eat until tomorrow probably. So I'm gonna go ahead, I already got a pack out. I'm just gonna make a little pack of brownies for the kids to have as a snack this week. And it's got all my directions right here on the back. So I'm just doing for 16 brownies. I'm gonna do them in probably a 9x9 pan. I have a small little pan for that. So I'm gonna get out some water, vegetable oil. I'll probably use olive oil, and then an egg, and just cook these according to the package directions.
Just for motivation. Life is hard the way it is, but with you it's easier. Follow me into the night. Without you I'm falling deeper. Stay a bit longer. Yeah, I just need you to. I just need you to. Stay a bit longer. I just need you to. Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while. A simple question. Can I get closer? Just for motivation. Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while. A simple question. Can I get closer? Just for motivation.
All right, this is an 8x8. I was wrong. So I'm using an 8x8 pan. Got them all mixed up. My oven is preheated to 325 degrees. Like I said, I'm just following the directions on the box, and we're gonna bake these for 45 to 50 minutes. Okay, now I just have a couple like quick things I need or want to prep for this week. So I'm gonna make some ranch dressing. The last time I made ranch dressing, I used buttermilk and like seasonings I already had in my pantry, but I do also have this, and I need to start working through it a little bit because it has been expired for a little bit. And I mean, seasonings, you do you in your own kitchen, right? Like that's just the rule of thumb for everybody. But seasonings are fine after the expiration date. They just aren't as potent. So I always add a little bit more once I know that the expiration date has passed on seasoning. So I just want to start using this up because I don't use it that often. So I'm going to use a little bit more, and I'm just following the directions on the back. So I'm mixing in 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of mayo, and then I think it says what, 2 tablespoons of seasoning. I'm probably going to do 3 and then just taste test it and make sure that that is enough. And then I picked this up years ago at the Dollar Tree. It's like a little measuring cup with a lid, and I love this for homemade dressing. So I'm just going to use this to mix everything up in, and then when we want it with our salads or for dipping or whatever, we can just pour it out using this again from the Dollar Tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed up real quick. Okay, you guys, so I know this is expired. I don't know by how long because I ripped off where it was just so the recipe directions were right here, but this is like rock hard. I just banged the stink out of it on my kitchen counter, and I can probably get enough to make this dressing, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep it after I make this because it's like, oh my gosh, like rock hard. I mean, I don't think it's over a year past expiration because I feel like I bought it, I don't know, not too long. I mean, even chunks in here I can't even, I don't want to waste this milk though. So I'm like trying to make it work. Oh gosh. Ugh. I mean, it smells okay. It smells like ranch dressing, but I mean, I can't even, oh my gosh. All right. Definitely note to self. Oh, see, there's a chunk in there. Hopefully it mixes up. Don't buy ranch dressing in a big seasoning like this anymore, or container, because we just don't use it that often. I'd much rather have like the dill, the garlic powder, to make it completely from scratch. Yeah, I don't even have the ingredients on here anymore because it was on this front page, but yeah, that's super hard. Okay, moving along. All right, the dressing is done. I'm gonna let this sit in the fridge for a little bit, and then I will like reshake it a little bit more. But seasoning still tasted fine, but yeah, this is just like super hard. I might try to work a little bit and try to break this up, but I might just say goodbye to this and like I said, not buy it like this anymore. All right, next quick-ish thing is I need some shredded cheese. We don't have any, all we have is Parm cheese in the fridge, so I have this block. I'm gonna go ahead, and I was hoping to get to this yesterday when I did all the breakfast stuff since I had my KitchenAid out, but I already put my KitchenAid up and I'm not gonna pull it back out. So I'm just gonna hand shred this with my little shredder here, and then it keeps for a couple weeks in the fridge. I'm just gonna put it in a little gallon size bag here. Cheese is shredded. I'm just gonna lightly get out as much air as I can, and then like I said, that'll be good for the next couple weeks in the fridge. All right, I pulled everything out for the next thing I'm gonna prep, but the brownies only had a few minutes, so I just waited. They're done. I'm gonna let them cool off, and then I'll go ahead and cut them. And I'm just gonna put foil over this and leave it out on the counter for the kids to snack on this week. All right, you guys, so next up I'm going to prep a lunch for Mark and I for this week, and I've had this book for a while. I've made a couple things out of it, but I am gonna make their Cincinnati chili. I'm not gonna share like exact ingredients. I will have this book linked in my Amazon storefront if you guys want to check it out, but I will show you guys like the overall ingredients. So for the chili, I've got all the seasonings here. We've got some cinnamon, cumin, allspice, cayenne pepper. I think this is chili powder. Yeah, chili powder, cacao powder. Then I'm going to be using some ground beef. You can, like, you know, switch that up for whatever meat you want. I've got some olive oil, apple cider vinegar, beef broth, tomato sauce, tomato paste, can of light red kidney beans, and onion. I'm also going to be using shredded cheese. I'm going to have one of these for lunch today, so I'll show you guys like how I'm plating it up. And then I think in their recipe they serve it over zoodles. Zoodles are not my husband's favorite, so I bought, and I'll show you guys when I'm prepping them, I bought a couple bags of like steamable zucchini, like pieces, because we love zucchini in our spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, anything like that. So I thought those would be good mixed in with the chili instead of like over zoodles for him. So that's how I'm gonna make it, kind of just putting our own twist, how we like to eat things. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this chili going, and then like I said, I am gonna be eating one of these for lunch today, so I'll show you guys how I serve it up or plate it up. All right, we're gonna add some oil to my pan. I forgot an ingredient, garlic. I'm taking the easy route and just using these little freezer cubes. Adding in my onion. And I'm just gonna cook this for a few minutes. Okay, I added in tomato paste and my ground beef. And now I'm just going to cook up this beef until it's, you know, completely cooked through. Ground beef is done. Now I'm just gonna add in all the rest of the ingredients. All right, actually I'm not adding in the, what am I not adding in? The kidney beans. Not yet. So I'm gonna mix all of this together, and I'm gonna let it come to a boil and let it cook for 30 minutes. All right, 30 minutes is up. This is a little more runny than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. Maybe it'll just be a little more soupy than thick like chili for lunches. Either way, I know it's gonna taste good. It smells amazing. So I'm adding in some kidney beans. All right, and then this is the, I just pulled this one out of the microwave, so it's pretty warm. This is the zucchini blend that I'm going to add in. So I picked these up at Walmart. They're in the freezer section, and it's just a mixture of green and yellow zucchini. I have one more bag in the microwave right now. I'm just heating them up for 4 minutes. I think it says like 5 to 6, but I think 4 minutes is gonna be plenty, especially since I am adding it into this and letting it cook just for a few minutes longer. I've got my zucchini in here, just gonna mix it. I have it on low, and I'm just gonna let it cook and simmer for maybe just about 5 minutes or so, just to let all the flavors mix together. All right, I've got a little bit in a bowl, and I'm just gonna sprinkle some cheese, and that's it. So I think I should be able to get maybe 3 or 4 bowls out of this, and that'll be a quick option for lunch this week. All right, you guys, it's actually the next morning, so into the 3rd day, but I'm just popping on to say that's it. I'm done with everything to meal prep. I actually had one more lunch on my list that I was going to prep for Mark and I, but I really think my oldest daughter, Paige, would enjoy this lunch. So I'm gonna hold off because all of the ingredients are good. She's gonna be gone for, well, when you guys see this video, I'm pretty sure it's going out on the Friday that she gets home. So she's getting home the very end of July, and I'm gonna save that lunch for like the next time I do a meal prep because I know that she would enjoy it. So everything else though, I got checked off of my list, and I already have a few ideas going into the next meal prep of things that I think I want to go ahead and tackle. So if you guys like meal prep videos, give this one a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.